Meanwhile, thousands of protesters have gathered across the US tonight as the backlash against Trump's win continues. Demonstrations stopped traffic in the streets of Chicago and Portland and New York. Protesters packed streets, marching 40 blocks from Union Square to Trump Tower. A Trump effigy was burned in downtown Manhattan and a candlelight vigil was held outside the White House. Leaders around the world have reacted to the election result in varying ways, but as Alex Ashton reports, those most afraid of what the future holds for America seem to be Americans themselves.
Just hours after Donald Trump became president-elect, protests broke out in 7 cities across the United States. Hundreds of people holding anti-Trump and anti-racism placards gathered in New York and Chicago. From joy to fear within the United States itself, the world has reacted strongly to the news that Donald Trump will be the next president.
Over 90 languages are spoken within a few mile radius of our mosque. And within that context, we have 6-year-old girls being called ISIS, having their hijab torn off, eating lunch in the bathroom by themselves, and worse. This was before last night. So we are terrified of the bold and brazen attitudes that this morning we heard from parents and students in the hallways of classrooms in our communities. Politics is politics and bigotry is bigotry, and those two need to be separated.
Colin Christopher from the Dar al-Hujra Islamic Centre. His comments were today reinforced by Nihad Awad, the Executive Director of American Islamic Relations.
Regardless of who won yesterday's election, American Muslims are here to stay. We are not going anywhere, and we will not be intimidated or marginalized.
In Libya, locals regarded Trump's election as bad news for the Arab world.
He's against Arabs and he doesn't like Muslims at all. This will be bad for Arabs, and if he continues this way, we and the whole Arab world are in trouble. Honestly, I do not support him.
In Moscow, the Russian President Vladimir Putin said he was looking forward to a warmer relationship with Americans.
And I'd like to congratulate the American people with the end of the electoral cycle.
Господина Дональда Трампа с победой на этих выборах.
And I'd also like to congratulate Mr. Donald Trump with his victory in these elections.
Но Россия готова и хочет восстановления полноформатных отношений с Соединенными Штатами.
But Russia is ready and wants to restore the full-fledged relations with the United States.
The German Chancellor Angela Merkel congratulated Mr. Trump, stressing the importance of continuing good transatlantic relations as a tool to managing global crises.
The US is an old and honourable democracy. The election campaign this year was a particular one, with some confrontations that were difficult to stomach. I, as many of you, watched the election results with trepidation. The person the American people choose to be their president in free and fair elections has an effect far beyond the US. In the case of Germany, there is no country outside the EU that we have deeper ties to than the US. Germany and America are bound together by values: democracy, freedom, respect of law and respect of people, regardless of their origin and the colour of their skin, their religion, gender, sexual orientation, or their political beliefs.
The British Prime Minister, Theresa May, maintained the enduring and special relationship between Britain and the United States would remain strong and intact.
Given what he said in the campaign about women, about Muslims, and some of the plans that have raised eyebrows, is he a fit person to hold this office, and will you be able to work with him?
Yes, I look forward to working with President-elect Trump. The American people have elected him as the next President of the United States. Britain and the United States share values of freedom, of democracy and enterprise, and I look forward to building on the special relationship we have between our two countries to ensure the security and prosperity of our two nations in the future.
Mexico's Finance Minister, José Antonio Meade, said the result wouldn't result in an immediate impact on trade, financial flows and travel between the two countries.
Mexico is in a position of strength to face this new environment.
Una inflación observada baja.
We have seen low inflation, around 3%, with future expectations well anchored inside the Bank of Mexico's objective range.
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte congratulated Mr. Trump, the maverick leader telling a crowd, "Long live Trump," and mentioning their similar traits.
We both curse. Even with trivial matters we curse. We are very similar in that way.
Britain's Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, who last year said he feared travelling to New York for fear of meeting Donald Trump, has changed his tune.
We look forward to working with his administration in due course when it is formed, to help to deliver security, stability, prosperity, the values that Britain and America jointly believe in.
Canada's immigration website crashed in response to the election result as Americans looked to leave the United States. The President, Justin Trudeau, said he would work with Mr. Trump despite a sense his victory could impact on Canadian exporters.
We share a purpose, our two countries, where we want to build places where the middle class and those working hard to join it have a chance. We need governments focused on service, and that's what we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep working with people right around the world. We're going to work with our neighbors, and I'm going to work with President-elect Trump's administration as we move forward in a positive way for not just Canadians and Americans, but the whole world.
Back in the United States, the President Barack Obama, who had campaigned hard on behalf of Hillary Clinton, today urged Americans to put aside their disappointment.
It is no secret that the President-elect and I have some pretty significant differences. But remember, 8 years ago, President Bush and I had some pretty significant differences. But President Bush's team could not have been more professional or more gracious in making sure we had a smooth transition so that we could hit the ground running. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. And over the next few months, we are going to show that to the world. I've said before, I think of this job as being a relay runner. You take the baton, you run your best race, and hopefully by the time you hand it off, you're a little further ahead.
Barack Obama will welcome Donald Trump to the White House for a visit tomorrow morning New Zealand time to discuss the transition of their presidencies. Mr. Obama will stay on as president until Donald Trump's inauguration, scheduled for January 20. For Checkpoint, Alex Ashton.